Last time I checked, this was the bike lane, not a photo shoot.
Watch out! This is the bike lane! What the hell are you doing? Are you serious?
Now here's something many Americans have been wondering for years. Can we just deport bicyclists? Welcome back to the JP Reacts channel, my beautiful freedom-loving friend. This is where we call out lies, hypocrisy, corruption, and help spread the light of truth and freedom because truth matters. And here's the truth. There has been tyranny on our roadways. And I'm not talking about regular road rage. I'm talking about these fascist bicyclists. They've got their spandex on, weird little tight shirts, making them look like they're sponsored, even though they're not. They're blocking the lane. They're riding 2-3 wide, sometimes in a pack, like a little cluster of cycling communists, and they can be rude. And they tend to evoke a lot of emotions out of people who have the belief that roads are designed and intended for cars. And it can be annoying. You know, we see things like them just, here we are. We're going a couple people wide. You can't get past us. Does their species have any consideration in their consciousness? I don't know. They could ride single file. Everybody's is for the greater good. Everybody would be better off. And they say, we have every right to be on the road too. And I say, maybe. But cars aren't allowed to drive too wide in a single lane. Why are you?
Late for a delivery, so I'm bombing down a hill on my fixed gear bike in the middle of the night wearing all black in a blizzard. I got a kid strapped to my front, baby on the back. Not mine, 2 kids I babysit. I actually hate kids. Anyways, I look up and I see this friggin' deranged lunatic texting and driving.
Oh my God, worse than drunk driving.
You don't know that? So I hop on my phone to alert the authorities. Next thing you know, I slip on a patch of ice and all 3 of us are in the hospital.
Oh my God. And the driver probably got off scot-free.
And I do have a theory that cardiovascular disease is high in America because of the stress induced by having to deal with cyclists. Take a look at this person.
Let's go! You're not a car! Get out the way! Move! I almost hit you!
And you might be wondering, and if you haven't, you should have been wondering, why do we hate bicyclists so much? Well, in this video, I'll show you exactly why people hate bicyclists so much.
No, you're a fucking...
Dude, literally stop.
No, I'm calling the police and you're not leaving. You're not leaving. I'm calling the police. That's
Dude,
all.
why are you so cranky?
No, you're not going anywhere.
Oh my God.
You're not going anywhere.
I don't want to be aggressive with you, dude.
You already are. You pushed into me. I asked you to wait. You didn't wait.
I didn't push.
Yeah, I've got a very aggressive teenager here that almost hit me in the car. And now he won't give me his last name. And now he's trying to leave. I'm riding a bike. I have more rights than you. I'll press charges against you.
Let's take a look through a bicyclist's onboard camera as he fascistly tyrannizes the public.
Oh, Mo, get off the f***ing bike lane! Can we keep the bike lane clear? Yo, where's your signal? Where's your signal? Yep. Hey! Can we keep the bike lane clear?
Bike lane. Nobody respects the bike lane. I realize some places it's there and nobody respects it. And I don't. To me, the bike lane is like a plant-based meat substitute. It's like your chicken is made out of tofu. It's like, yeah, that's not a real lane. I don't respect it. I have no respect for tofikin or tofurkey or any kind of tofu. And therefore, I don't respect bike lanes either. Let's see more.
Man, that's a nice bike you got there. Last time I checked, this was the bike lane, not a photo shoot. Good job blocking the bike lane, you piece of shit.
Fuck you. This guy, he might be the only one responsible for why there's so much public disdain for bicyclists.
I'm sorry, does it say walk? It's an excellent place to stand. Let's block the bike lane. What are signals? That's not dangerous at all. I guess we don't look. Yo, the way you pulled in makes me wish your dad pulled out. Can't park here, right here. Can't park here. Get a real job. Good job blocking the bike lane.
Hey, get out of the way!
Oh,
He's yelling at the cops.
that's some grade A parking spot right there. Way to block the bike lane. Very good. You're good at your job. You're good at your job. Man, I wonder how these lines work. Man, that's a nice bike you got there.
And you might be thinking, well, all right, JP, that And that bicyclist guy, he's obviously a jerk, but that's just one bad apple. Gives cyclists a bad name. Truth is, that's how 100% of all cyclists are. That's what they're thinking. They have a supremacy. It's like they're the white supremacists of the wheel community. It ain't good. They're very bigoted to anything that's not on a bike. Now, I will admit, the road brings out the worst in people. When things don't go your way, the road brings out the worst in people. That's why you have road rage. You have normal, like I'm at my worst when I'm on the road and someone does something dangerous. I mean, I don't become the world's most Gandhi-like person. So whether you're in a car or in a bicyclist, admittedly, the road is like this sewage drain of humanity. The worst of us are found there. We'll get back to the video in just a second, but first, if you're someone like me who wants to be informed and you care about truth, you got a problem. Because as you're doing your research to stay informed, you're inevitably coming across many media outlets that have their own hidden bias. They sensationalize and they keep their company's ownership hidden, so you don't know how biased they really are. And that leaves you either uninformed or not knowing who to trust. That's why I love ground.news. They bring transparency back to the media so you know exactly where your information's coming from, what the bias of that source is, and who owns it. Ground News shines light on what is normally deceptively hidden, which allows you to be a much better informed truth seeker, knowing who to trust. Let me show you an example of how it works. One of the biggest news stories going on right now that I find interesting is the American Eagle Sydney Sweeney ad. So typing that in here on Ground News, you see there's a total of 154 sources, but here's the really cool thing. They're sorted left, center, and right. And here you can see each outlet is labeled what they are, what their bias is. Are they center? Are they right? Are they left? And you can even sort the articles based on the bias. And that's actually really shocking to look at. Check this out. Seeing how the left is reporting on this story, the banal provocation of Sydney Sweeney's jeans, or ads by American Eagle with Sydney Sweeney generate debate about race and beauty standards. Now, if you didn't know the political bias of the outlet, you can just imagine a person's going to be swayed on what to think about this story just by reading these biased headlines. And compare that to how the right is reporting on it. Sydney Sweeney has great genes and is insulted as a Nazi. And you can see that headline is written as though her being insulted by a Nazi, it's a ridiculous thing, which is very different than the left. But remember, if you don't know where your news is coming from and what their bias is, you can unfortunately be manipulated into their propaganda. Full transparency is the goal with Ground News so that you can better make up your mind on what to believe. So if you're tired of being misled by deception in the news and hidden biases, I think you'll enjoy Ground News. Subscribe now to get 40% off the Vantage plan or use my link in the description below. Or you can go to ground.news/JP. Enjoy having sanity and transparency brought to your quest to be informed. Now back to the video. But there is something pretentious about bicyclists that needs to be acknowledged. Walking around in spandex, tight shirts, and especially when they're not on their bikes. They take a ride, the sporty bikes. I'm not talking about people on a cruiser trying to just go somewhere, but a bicyclist. That's their gender identity, a bicyclist. They might take a ride to a coffee shop and then they keep their helmet on and they walk in with their clicky little shoes, sit there with their tight spandex on. I think our children deserve better. Now, before we take a look at another onboard cyclist camera that explains why America hates cyclists, here's one guy on TikTok who captures the cycling consciousness exquisitely.
Mate, I'll be sick. Yeah, go on. If we just go in everyone's way? Yeah, but won't that just piss everyone off and make them want to ram us with the cars? Yeah, exactly. No one will like us. And we could meet up every weekend and wear spandex and get really, really sweaty. Don't you think that sounds a bit weird and a bit homosexual? Oh, extremely homosexual, but that's kind of the point. And I've always wanted a big chest and back and arms and what have you. Yeah, that's the dream. Well, what about instead, hear me out, if you just have massive calves and hamstrings and stuff. Why on earth would I want that? That sounds shit. Wouldn't that be sick? I don't know. I think you're missing the point. I think that'd be really cool.
Captures it pretty well. Now let's take a final look at cyclists explaining why we hate them so much through their behavior.
You don't look before you cross, idiot! Jesus Christ. I got you on camera. Please don't do that before you kill someone, please.
It's the best of humanity, ladies and gentlemen. They're like chihuahuas. They are so vulnerable on the road. They're flipping off cars. They're cussing at people in cars who are kind of like in a murder vehicle. If their mind goes dark enough, they're in a weapon relative to the bicyclists. They don't necessarily have a good survival consciousness. Now, where I live in Texas, there's no bicyclists. And I wonder, is that because there was never any bicyclists, or is that because there's no more bicyclists? Survival of the fittest kind of thing. We're driving around a weapon. I don't know. I'm not condoning that, but I do speculate. Is that why there's no bicyclists on the roads in Texas?
Every time. Nice parking.
Again, it's a chihuahua with a loud bark. Very little bite relative to a car.
Use your turn signal and use your f***ing mirrors. No, no, no.
No, no, no. Why doesn't anybody like me? So, ladies and gentlemen, please write your local Congress representative, call your senators, and plead with them to do their jobs and get bicyclists deported from America so we can truly make America great again. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on our next video. Until then, stay free and drive your car like a normal human.